Hi, my name is Christine DiCarlo, and I'm with the American Association of Colleges of Osteopathic Medicine, or ACOM. And I'm here today to talk with Tyler King.
How's it going?
Hey, Tyler. Tyler is a fourth-year medical student at the New York Institute of Technology College of Osteopathic Medicine at Arkansas State University. And Tyler is also our current Osteopathic Health Policy Intern, or as we like to call him, our OPI. Tyler has been helping out the ACOM's Office of Government Relations with advocacy and policy work throughout his internship. And he also recently matched into a residency program in family medicine down in South Texas. So congratulations for that, Tyler. So during the course of the interview, I wanted to talk with Tyler about his work in advocacy and policy, his passion for the issues that Ed2Med is prioritizing. And as a whole, as you may know, our Ed2Med campaign is very focused on addressing the physician workforce shortage, which I should mention, usually when we do these interviews with our interns, we're live in person together. But since our country is dealing with this COVID-19 pandemic and we are trying to social distance as much as we can, we're doing this remotely by Zoom, like the rest of the country has been getting used to. But this really helps illustrate the importance of having a robust physician workforce and ensuring our healthcare professionals have the equipment they need and are well equipped to meet the needs of our patients, and that there are enough of them to meet all the patient needs. So it really highlights the importance of Ed2Med right now. So Tyler, thank you so much for speaking with me today and answering my questions. We can get right into the first question. My first question for you is, you have a degree in political science and you cite policy as the core reason why you applied to medical school. What first attracted you to politics and policy?
Hey, Christine, thanks for the question. It's been an honor to work with you these past 7 weeks so far. Policy, it kind of goes back to my grandmother, actually. She taught me from a very young age that it was important to be engaged and kind of be paying attention to what's going on in Washington, D.C. and how that affects, middle America where we were living. And that kind of stuck. And then combine that with the fact that, my grandfather, her husband, was a urologist and was always kind of telling me the great things about what it was like in medical school, what it was like to serve patients. And with that combination and that strong influence from the very beginning, I kind of like always had this idea that I would combine my passion for policy and politics with the actual practice of clinical medicine. And that's what I've been planning to do. And that's what I'm about to get started with.
That sounds great. Definitely a family influence, keeping it in the family. Yeah. So my next question is about the physician shortage. So the physician shortage is a health challenge that you're very passionate about addressing. You saw firsthand the harm that it causes during your experience as a Teach for America Corps member when you were in South Texas. And really, this is something that's brought to the forefront of everyone's minds in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I was hoping you could talk a little bit about how your Teach for America experience helped to shape your path in medicine.
Absolutely, Christine. Thank you. So for those who don't know, by 2030, we're projected to have potentially up to 100,000 too few physicians than we're going to need. And that could be approximately 30,000 primary care physicians, a shortage. So that's something I'm really passionate about. I know it's something AACOM is very passionate about as well. For those who don't know, Teach for America is an organization that recruits mostly college students as they're about to graduate to commit at least 2 years to serve as K through 12 educators in classrooms in over 55 regions across the country in low-income school districts. And I made that 2-year commitment, ended up teaching for 4 years down in South Texas, and that's where I'm headed back for residency in family medicine, like you mentioned earlier. I'm really excited about that. Actually, that experience is really what got me all started with a true passion for serving in underserved and particularly thinking about health inequities long term, because I quickly discovered that the core root causes of education inequity are almost always the exact same root causes as our health inequity. Poverty, systemic discrimination, decrease in resources, like all those things really contribute to the same inequity on both sides. So it was a natural transition to be fighting for education inequity to health inequity. And I saw it firsthand with one of my students. We had a really devastating tragedy hit our community. She was in her senior year of high school, and I've been her teacher for 3 years and taught history. And on one Friday afternoon, she just got unwell, started having these vague symptoms. She had no past medical history to the best of her knowledge. And, over the weekend, went to the emergency room, got hospitalized. I heard about it Monday, and we all went to the hospital to check on her. And we knew it was severe, and it turned out that she died that night on Monday night of undiagnosed lupus. And we were all just struck with, but the whole community was just hurt. And soon to find out she didn't have regular primary care. There's a huge shortage in that area, and a lot of my students actually didn't have regular primary care to the best of my knowledge. And that was 4 months before medical school actually started for me, and it was kind of a grounding moment for me to say, I'm going to come back to this area, and I'm going to be a primary care physician. I think about, she had a classic butterfly rash that presents with lupus that only a astute primary care physician would notice at that annual visit, and then refer to the rheumatologist and try to find ways to make sure that they're taken care of, and educate the parents on signs to look for flares. And that just didn't happen in her case. And it grounded me at the start of medical school about why I was doing what I was doing and what I wanted to do long term. So.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that really powerful story, Tyler. That's very inspirational. So my next question is about a policy issue that EdToMed is currently prioritizing, and that is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, or PSLF. So PSLF addresses the physician shortage by improving primary care access in medically underserved areas, such as South Texas. And saving PSLF is also a passion of yours. When you discuss the value of PSLF, how do you help others understand the very serious health implications that it has, both for patients and for public health?
Yeah, Christine, it actually is something I've gotten extremely passionate about in the last year. And you mentioned it, Public Service Loan Forgiveness, or PSLF as we call it, addresses the physician shortage, but in more so, it addresses a physician shortage where it's most critically needed, like in South Texas, where I'll be heading. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that students are fully aware of exactly what PSLF offers. And I know y'all are doing such a great job in the Ed2Med campaign with that. I just know that there are still some students who don't fully understand the value that it has to them. And for me, it was about realizing that I can do family medicine, I can practice traditional primary care and on the border, in academic medicine or nonprofit, where traditionally they make lower salaries, and I have $450,000 in student loan debt as I'm about to graduate. Perhaps by May it'll be closer to 500,000, with interest accruing every day. But the point is, we need to be incentivizing our students and our future physicians into going into the specialties that we most critically need. And what public service loan forgiveness does is it allows you to choose your heart, choose your passion over your loans, choosing patients, not loans. And so I don't have to graduate thinking, okay, I need to be a hospitalist and make as much money as I possibly can to pay down those loans. Like, I can serve for 10 years at least in an underserved area for a nonprofit, academic medicine. And after those 10 years, after everything that I've paid, the remaining balance will be forgiven tax-free with no cap. And that's something that makes me really excited. I don't have to choose between, financial stability and doing what really I'm passionate about and what the country actually needs.
That's great, Tyler. Yes, choosing PSLF to follow your passion is great. So Ed2Med, along with PSLF, we're also very focused on protecting the Grad Plus loan program. So I was hoping you could talk a little bit about the connection that Grad Plus loan program has with improving diversity in medicine.
Yeah, I'm really excited about answering this question because so many people don't necessarily think about Grad Plus as a connection to access and diversity in medicine. It's not like a natural thought. So so we're all on the same page, Grad Plus loans are loans that are given out to graduate and professional students, and it from the federal government, and it covers the entire cost of tuition. So there's no cap on it currently, and I think that's what's key. With if there was a cap, there would be limitations for low-income students, students of color, underserved backgrounds, underrepresented minorities, who could potentially have a harder time getting credit for these for private loans if there were a cap. So Grad Plus loans ensures that admissions offices all across the country can choose the students that they actually, their first choices, and that admissions offices more and more care deeply, and we're all learning, day by day how critical having a diverse physician workforce is. Um, you know, Physicians of color or physicians from underserved communities are more likely to go back and serve those underserved communities, and patients connect better with physicians who know their story and know where they're from. So a power like a dynamic, diverse physician workforce is critical, and Grad Plus is part of ensuring that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Grad Plus, it covers, like Tyler said, your cost of tuition. It also covers all those other costs like your living expenses, your room and board. So for someone who needs the financial assistance to cover not just tuition, but everything else, Grad Plus is really critical. So Tyler, my final question for you is, after you graduate and complete your residency training, you plan to practice family medicine in that same South Texas town where you taught as a Teach for America member. Do you plan to remain engaged in advocacy and policy throughout this next phase of your career? And if so, how?
Yeah, so I have to be very careful. If my wife ends up watching this, she's going to want to know the answer to this question. So, in short, yes, long term, definitely going to be staying involved in advocacy, and she knows that and she supports that. But in the short term, I'm going to try to take a backseat a little bit and just really focus on being a first year resident, or intern, as we're called, and really focus on the medicine, and outside of that, the little time that I will have during that first year, being as good of a father and husband as I can. So in this first year, at least, I want to really try to just kind of take a back seat and focus on being the best family physician I can be. And then after the first year, get my feet wet in residency, I'll probably step back into the arena, so to speak. It's not in my it's not in my nature to stay on the sidelines. I feel like physicians need to be more engaged in health policy in general. The more physicians that are involved in making health policy, I think the better policy that we'll make.
Yes, definitely. We definitely do need your voice, but it is very important too, especially in times like these, that you're devoting the time you need to getting the best training you can to be a great physician as well as a great advocate. So Tyler, thank you so much for talking with us today. We're really excited to see what you do next, and we're excited for your career. If anyone out there is watching and is inspired by Tyler's story, please join our EdToMed campaign. We'd love to have you advocate for these important issues. You can find us online at edtomed.com, and we're also on social media at Twitter and on Facebook. So thank you again, Tyler, and thanks everyone for watching.
Thanks for having me on.